Welcome back to my channel. You already know it's your boy Hood Diggity, the Rock Reactor, back with another video. Yes, sir. Before I proceed, let me know where you tapping in from. Let me know what country, what city, what mountain, what hill, what cave, what island, what planet, what universe. Let me know where you at. Represent your hood. Yes, sir. It's becoming impossible to keep up with the most famous man, the most popular man in the world right now, my man, Mr. Donald Trump, man. Trump is just, I mean, you could spend, I mean, there's no way to keep up with this guy. This guy just, he has too much in his plate. How does he do it, too? I wonder what's his day to day, like as far as him sleeping, is he getting enough rest? Is he eating right? Because he's just all over, man. How does he do it? God bless him, by the way. God bless him. You have to bless a man with so much energy and so much drive, guys. I praise Trump. Whether you agree with the things he does or don't agree, I'm somewhere in between. I agree with some of the shit. I don't agree with some of the shit. It all depends. Now, on this one is fishy. Trump's pardon of a convicted woman. It's the second time he's erased her sentence in a criminal case. There has to be an agenda behind this, guy. Nobody's stupid here. We all know she is well connected. I can imagine a lot of people in jail. We see murder, by the way. A lot of people in jail are hating this lady. Let's find out, guys. Before we do, if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to my channel, hit the notification bell, hit the like button. Any donations to my channel will be greatly appreciated. My PayPal account is on the screen. Let's see what this is about. Trump pardons a lady twice in a row.
The Trump administration
Back
announced
to
new
back.
presidential pardons today. Among them, someone who already got clemency in the president's first term. Back in 2019, Adriana Camberos was sentenced to 26 months in prison after being convicted in a scheme to sell fake 5-hour energy drinks. President Trump commuted that sentence in early 2021. Then, in 2024, she was convicted again, along with her brother, in connection with a new fraud involving the illegal resale of wholesale goods in a scheme the FBI said netted them millions. Both were found guilty on 8 counts. Last year, she was sentenced to more than a year in prison. This week, the president released her from prison for a second time. Back with us is former federal prosecutor Jeffrey Toobin, whose latest book is The Pardon, The Politics of Presidential Mercy. Jeff, we don't have a picture of her to show, but I mean, I guess he can do anything in terms of pardons. A president has the right to pardon anybody, right?
It's one of the few absolute powers in the Constitution. It can't be challenged in court. It can't be challenged in Congress. If a president wants to pardon someone, he can just do it, and that's the end of the story. I think what's worth noting about this crazy second pardon is that it was a case brought by the Justice Department during the Biden years. And one way to get a pardon, it seems clear, because the president has granted so many of these in his first year of his second term, is to say, well, this was the Biden Justice Department and it was unfair. But, these are cases brought by career prosecutors. And, the idea that this fraudster got away once with a crime, but a second time, that seems to me unprecedented in any histories of pardons that I'm aware of.
Well, and they're saying that she was targeted a second time by law enforcement because she got clemency the first time from Trump. But I mean, is
Well,
there
maybe-
a modern
maybe-
precedent
maybe-
for a person who's gotten clemency committing a new crime in the same variety, the same sort of fraud variety, being sentenced again and then being granted? I mean, do you know of this ever happening? Being granted clemency
Absolutely
again?
not. There is one person who got a commutation from one president and a pardon from the next. Patty Hearst, the notorious, famous Patty Hearst,
Right.
who was convicted in a bank robbery after she was kidnapped. She was had her sentence commuted by Jimmy Carter, and then later she was pardoned long after she got out of prison by Bill Clinton. But it was
Right.
the same crime.
And she was in jail twice.
Right. I mean, what's extraordinary is you would think that having gotten the incredible gift of a commutation and out of prison, this person would have said, I don't think I'm going to commit any more crimes. But apparently she did decide to commit more crimes.
And not only does I don't think I should commit more crimes, but I don't think I'm going to get a pardon again. But I guess she was sure she was.
But amazingly, she then got out of jail again. Well, I've never heard of anything like it, but this is how it's going now.
Two of the women's lawyers apparently had ties to President Trump's orbit or people in President Trump's orbit. And there have been other cases in which attorneys had sort of vague connections to people in the Trump world. I mean, is that a telltale sign?
Well, absolutely. I mean, these pardons from the president over the course of the first year, a lot of the same lawyers are recurring, and several of them have either worked for President Trump or worked on his criminal case. Several of the other pardons come to people who have family members who gave millions of dollars to super PACs associated with President Trump. But it's also worth noting that because of the Supreme Court's decision in Trump versus United States, it's completely impossible for the president to be prosecuted for any sort of bribery in connection with pardons, because the Supreme Court said official actions are off limits and pardons are official actions.
The president's unprecedented and unapologetic or shameless use of the pardon power to reward.
There has to be something behind that. She's probably a friend of the missus. It's not just her lawyers that are connected with Trump. I mean, because at the end of the day, Trump is putting his name out there by signing off for these pardons. So this is something that I would love a reporter just straight up ask Trump in one of those Air Force One interviews that he gives, or any interview, any one of those interviews that he gives, and ask him, why did you pardon this lady a second time? And the same thing though, she's actually a fraudster.
People who support him, people who have been convicted of sleaze and corruption. Well, that clemency continued unabated today with, as far as we can tell, the only apparent MAGA supporter to ever have received this clemency from President Trump twice, Adriana Camberos. In 2019, during Trump's first term, she was sentenced to 26 months in prison, convicted in a scheme to sell millions of dollars worth of a fake energy drink, and Trump commuted that sentence on his way out the door in 2021. In 2024, she was convicted again in a different scheme. The New York Times reports that Camberos enlisted,
and this one was tens of millions of dollars,
the help of lawyers connected to President Trump, including one who represented Rudy Giuliani in his defamation case. And once again, President Trump pardoned her. Her attorney tells CNN, quote, Ms. Camberos was wrongfully convicted. She's home now and very grateful to the president, the White House, and Alice Johnson for their support. Also pardoned today, a banker facing charges including felony bribery. The Times reports that his daughter just happened to have donated $3.5 million to the MAGA Inc. super PAC. What a coincidence. Here now is the panel. Notice White House correspondent Jasmine Wright and Wall Street Journal reporter Maggie Severns. Am I pronouncing that correctly? Severns? Okay, thank you so much. It's your first time here, so I just wanted to make sure. So the former Puerto Rico governor, Wanda Vasquez, who pleaded guilty to campaign finance violations last summer, is also expected to get a pardon, according to a White House official. Jasmine, you have covered what happens behind the scenes before President Trump offers these clemencies, pardons, commutations. One key component seems to be people having FaceTime with the president.
Yeah, so much of who can get a pardon right now in this new administration is based on who you know. And that could be somebody close to the president. That could be somebody close to the folks who are put in these pardons office, like Ed Martin, Alice Marie Johnson, who is a pardon czar, somebody close to somebody like Darren Warrington, basically trying to get their cases pushed perhaps by lobbyists, perhaps by people who used to work for Trump or in the kind of orbit, in front of the folks who are making these decisions and ultimately bringing the cases to Trump. Susie Wiles is very much so involved in what cases Trump is looking at. And so it is incumbent upon people to really try to push their cases which aren't going through the normal DOJ process, right? We know that
there is a
folks
pardons office.
Yes, there is a pardons office who typically does this work. People apply through the website. These are folks who have typically gone to prison or have served some of their time and admitted fault in these ways and are then put into that pardon system. They're not going through that process anymore. They're really kind of going to people in this kind of transactional way. And so a lot of it is who you know. And some of these people have actually gotten themselves in front of the president, like at Mar-a-Lago or other places, to plead their case. And one official told me, like, yes, that has happened, but then the president will say, okay, go talk to this person, go talk to this person. But again, it's who you know, not necessarily that you were sorry for something that you did.
And Mackie, this really creates a cognitive dissonance when you have President Trump railing against fraud in Minnesota and then pardoning fraudsters, picking up Maduro for drug trafficking, bombing those drug trafficking boats, pardoning the former president of Honduras for drug trafficking. I mean, there's no consistency.
Yeah, I think it really underscores, the Journal has done some reporting on how the president sees himself as someone who can make a judgment or be an arbiter of justice, right? As opposed to going through DOJ, going through someone else's process. Sometimes he'll see these cases and decide he thinks someone should be pardoned, right? And so it's more, he sees himself as someone who is capable of delivering.
Oh, may I dare say he's grabbing her by the puss? May I dare say? It could be. You never know. This is obviously, there's obviously a big agenda behind these pardons. These pardons are not getting at just anybody. It's just getting pardons like that. No more, I guess he's not working with Kim Kardashian anymore. Kim Kardashian used to be his homegirl in the first term. And she got to get a lot of people pardons, clemency and stuff like that. But obviously there's a big agenda behind this. This is like legal impunity. Because it's who you know. But then again, he's the president. He was elected. He's the president. At the end of the day, any president would have had the right to do the same thing. He's just doing it in a very, very, very questionable way. Guys, you already know, man. Subscribe to my channel. Hit the notification bell. Hit the like button. Any donations to my channel will be greatly appreciated. My PayPal account is on the screen. Thank you very much for watching. Peace, love, and God bless.